Today's classic interview is a real classic in more ways than one. We interviewed back in April of 2010 Glenn Miller, who may be known to you as Fraser Glenn Cross. This is the guy who was arrested and since charged with the killing of 3 people at 2 different Jewish community centers in Kansas. This is the guy who told me that I was very Kaika-like. This is the guy who called me a Jew liar. I think, Lewis, this is the first time we have interviewed people who were murderers, who had killed people prior to being on our show. This is the only time I'm aware of that after we interviewed someone, they went on to kill others. And when this arrest took place, 4 years, 5 years after 4 years, 4 years after the interview, and all of a sudden, the FBI is in touch with us. They want transcripts of emails that we've had with the guy. Media outlets are calling, saying, hey, you've interviewed this guy. Explain what happened. Talk to us about this. It was fascinating and also completely horrifying that we had talked to a guy who went on to commit such horrible, horrible acts.
Yeah, and when you watch the interview, you'll see, you might think that he's mentally ill. You might think he's schizophrenic.
Oh, yeah.
He's clearly a guy who buys into every single one of those famous Jewish conspiracies.
Right.
And I guess when your airtime is up and you've reached this level of insanity, the only thing left to do is go out and try and kill some Jews. Unfortunately for him, he killed 3 Christians, right?
Yeah, that was the sort of very dark irony of the entire thing, which he didn't even end up killing any Jews, although he was trying to. And that is today's classic interview from April of 2010, that infamous interview with Glenn Miller.
This is Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman.
Hey, welcome back to Midweek Politics. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter at midweekpolitics.com and visit us on YouTube, youtube.com/midweekpolitics. Glenn Miller is running for U.S. Senator from the state of Missouri, and he's been making headlines with his It's the Jews Stupid campaign, for lack of a better term. Here's one of those ads, which stations have been running with a disclaimer you just don't usually see with political ads.
The following is a paid political advertisement and may not be suitable for children, but this station is required to carry it by federal law.
White men have become the biggest cowards ever to walk the earth. The world has never witnessed such yellow cowards. We've sat back and allowed the Jews to take over our government, our banks, and our media. We've allowed tens of millions of foreign mud people to invade our country, steal our jobs and our women, and destroy our children's future. America is no longer ours. America belongs to the Jews who rule it and to the mud people who multiply in it. The undeniable proof is at davidduke.com. It's time for white men to unite, to join together, and to take our country back. This is Glenn Miller, and I approve this message.
And Glenn Miller joins us now. How old a guy are you, Glenn?
I'm 69.
All right. And who do you find to be more of a problem, blacks or Jews? I can't tell.
Compared to our Jewish problem, all other problems are mere distractions.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then let me ask you this also, because with a lot of the anti-Jew, anti-black folks, they also don't like homosexuals. Do you also dislike homosexuals, or are you gay-friendly?
I'm definitely not gay-friendly.
Okay.
If you envision and think just what it is homosexuals do,
right?
If it doesn't make you sick, then you're just as sick as they are.
I guess I'm sick. How old were you? How old were you when you first figured out that Jews controlled so many things?
Well, I really became Jew-wise in 1974.
Okay.
Is when I started reading some independent publications published by white nationalist leaders around the country, Dr. William Pierce,
the good doctor,
David Duke,
right,
and Wilmot Robertson.
And what exactly do Jews control?
Jews control the mass media in this country. They control the United States federal government, and they control the Federal Reserve Bank.
In what way? In what way do they control those things?
Well, as far as the mass media is concerned, they own outright a great deal of it, but they control it mainly through political correctness. Everybody's afraid to step over the line called political correctness, and the Jewish media has established what that line is.
And where is that line?
Well, you don't criticize the Jews for one thing. You know, the United States government has taken on the task, and it's the responsibility of the federal government now to combat criticism of Jews in every country on earth.
Wow.
To include the monitoring of their books, their newspapers, their magazines, their television, radio, even their music.
Yeah, and I'll tell you,
There's
you know,
something. It's called the 2004 Global Anti-Semitism Act.
yeah,
I
no,
mean, the
yeah.
government doesn't do that for blacks or Hispanics or Asian or American Indians.
Well, there's a number
or
of other
white people or Christians or Muslims. They only do it for the Jews.
Well, but at the same time, the government doesn't provide the legal situation that Native Americans have at reservations for anybody else. You know, we could pick out all the advantages different groups get, right? But my question to you is this: How can I?
You going off in the left field somewhere?
No, I don't think so.
I'm saying that the federal government has taken on the responsibility to combat criticism of Jews worldwide.
And that's a problem
for
you.
Those countries that violate that will be punished through sanctions or whatever.
And you would like to see more criticism of Jews.
I mean, that is what I'm pointing out to you is that that is more evidence that Jews control the federal government.
Now, I'm Jewish, and I know that, by the way, I'm telling my producer here because he's not up to speed on this. After Glenn...
Well, you know then.
Hold on a second, Glenn. After we confirmed our interview with Glenn, Glenn posted on a white supremacist forum that he'd be on the show, and then other people on the forum started researching me, and a few of them found articles that pointed to me having ancestors in Eastern Europe, and they said, yep, this guy is a Jew. And so my question to you is, how can I get in on this power? I'm Jewish. I feel completely powerless. Who can I talk to? Where can I go? Where are the meetings? I would love to get in on that power myself.
Well, you're born with all the big Jews discriminate in favor of other Jews. That's why there's so many Jews in the mass media, for example.
But why am I
why there's so many Jews in the federal government?
But I'm powerless. Where can I?
You're
where are they meeting?
You're not powerless. You got your own damn radio show. You own 70 radio stations. You call that powerless?
Believe me, I have no power.
Yeah, right. That's what Howard Stern said, and he's a Jew liar just like you are.
Well, I'm not lying. I'm just telling you, I don't know where the meetings
are. Well, you're
are.
insulting the intelligence of your listeners when you say you have no power, but yet you speak on 70 radio stations.
Yeah, but a lot of those stations are really small.
You still have power.
Okay, let's talk about...
You know,
Glenn.
Patrick Buchanan, you're familiar with Patrick Buchanan.
How could I not be?
He refers to the United States Congress as Israel's Amen Corner, and to Capitol Hill
let me stop you right there.
Israeli-occupied territory. Patrick Buchanan, he's a great man. He's a great historian. He's one of the very few journalists that has the courage to speak out against Jewish domination of the country.
Let's not talk about... I want to focus on your history because, again, you are running for Senate in Missouri. You believe that you have a chance to win?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's a lot of changes that have occurred in the last few years that make it possible for a radical politician like me to win elections.
Tell us. Let's go.
White people out there. Let me tell you.
Well, no. Let's go through it. Let's talk about your arrest in 1987. Was that a felony?
Oh, you're going to attack me personally.
No.
You can't debate the facts with me, so you're going to. That's very Kike-like.
Glenn, hold on. Let's calm down. What I want to do is just set your background because we need to know the background.
Yeah,
was that a felony or a misdemeanor?
Oh, felony.
It was a felony. So
I'm a convicted felon, and I'm proud of it, by the way.
How many U.S. senators now are convicted felons?
I couldn't care less. I wish there more of them were, because then it would show that they had some guts at one time in their life.
Well, most of them get convicted as felons after their time in Congress, is what I've noticed. Usually they don't go in as convicted felons, but many come out that way, right?
Well, if I had my way, they'd all be in jail right now for treason, if not hung from a sturdy oak tree.
Were Jews
dominate on virtually every one of them. Ron Paul is the only independent politician representative in Washington.
Were Jews responsible for your arrest?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. That's good at least.
They were responsible for my conviction that prompted me to go underground and declare war on the son of a bitches.
So Jews convicted you?
Yes.
Okay, but who committed?
Morris Dees, mainly, he's a Jew.
But who committed?
Runs the Southern Poverty Law Center. I'm sure you're familiar with him.
And who committed the crime, though?
Which specific crime are you referring?
The one you were convicted of.
Well, I committed that, sure.
Okay, just
I got
making sure we're straight.
convicted of declaring war on the federal government and possession of illegal weapons.
So, given the overwhelming Jewish control of the media, how can you explain the incredible success of Pat Robertson's 700 Club and the Christian Broadcasting Network? Wouldn't Jews who control the media just
I'm glad
pull
you
Pat
asked
right
that
off?
question.
Good.
Pat Buchanan is the biggest Israeli bootlicker on the planet, one of the biggest ones. The way he maintains his empire.
Pat
and
Buchanan,
money
you mean
and
Pat
wealth.
Robertson. You mean Pat
Let me finish
Robertson.
answering your question.
Well,
the way he keeps all that is to kiss up and promote wars for Israel. He's a warmonger, a neocon, and he advocates for the nuclear annihilation of millions of black and brown people in the Middle East. John Hagee's another one. He's even more fervent.
But hold on a second.
Israel gave John Hagee a brand new jet
Okay,
as a
Glenn.
reward for his promotion.
I'm trying to get out of
Jew
the weeds.
wars.
Let's not get into the weeds here. Hold on a second.
Well, you asked me a question, I answered it.